All right, we then go on to Redon. He is, and Munch is, remember, sort of off-center. We start off-center. We start in Norway, off the center of Paris as the capital where all new things modern are happening. But we move to Paris with Redon, and we really are talking about symbolism. This is a movement that also, I think, picks up on Freudian ideas even before those Freudian ideas are kind of published and disseminated. So it is a parallel. Freud is working on those ideas, and artists who are doing no form of research are hitting on the same ideas. So I wanted to describe his work, which seems to come from the realm of dreams, as a form of dream logic. And that would be Freudian dream logic before he even knows about Freud. And so there were three strategies of Freudian dream logic: displacement, condensation, and fetish. And I think that'll give you a language to use to work with Redon. It is also the language we'll use later with our surrealists. They will be the first artists who have read their Freud, who are directly and very strongly influenced by Freud. But we already see this going on here. Now, don't call him proto-surreal. We have no idea about surrealism yet. He's a symbolist. So as a symbolist, he's giving us pictures from the reverse side of the eye. As a symbolist, he's giving us pictures that point to those big questions of life so hard to answer when words fail. And remember who the symbolists really adored? They adored Gauguin, who gave us that big mural. Where are we going? Who are we? I don't remember all three questions. Where are we going? Where did we come from? Who are we? This kind of thing. Those big, big questions of life that don't have any clear-cut answers. All right, so how do we see all this happening? In these two works, we see one foot in the 19th century world of nature, one foot in the 20th century world of the psyche. When you have a flower or a plant, but with a human head as its bud, I think you're somewhere between nature and psyche. And this is sort of, again, a pathway to abstraction. We have titles that are very mysterious, that add rather than decode the mystery of meanings. They add to the mystery. One, the origin of vision begins in the flower on the left and swamp flower, sad human face on the right. You don't need to memorize those titles. You just need to know when a title means is important to an artist. When they do one title, that's still important. They don't want you caught up with some title that hangs like baggage on the work. But when they do give you a title that adds to the mystery, like the Curico does, like Redon does, they want you to think in poetic terms that open up and that do not pin down, right? Because they do not want to pin down the mystery. There's respect for mystery. This is why Redon likes using black, white, and shades of gray in between. So in other words, he likes the new medium, and it is a brand new medium of lithography. This allows for a range, or what I call a sort of twilight shades of gray, the twilight zones of gray, to play with, murky gray. So in each one, the work is supposed to be mysterious, and this is part of symbolism, feeling that there is a mystery beyond what rational logic can pin down. And there's a respect for that. So they looked at things like a kind of dreams. Go to nature, Gauguin will tell us, the dream in front of it. And what was wrong with the Impressionists? They neglected the mysterious centers of thought. So see, this is sort of an occult movement almost. But you should know, Redon studied things like Eastern religions. He was just really in search of a spirituality that could not be contained and pinned down in a kind of unambiguous way. He really believed in the ambiguity of the times. So he's very clear on things being ambiguous. All right. So what you get here is displacement, when your human head is not where it's supposed to be. Condensation of that term, of two things condensing together. So displacement means taking something, or a part of something, a fragment of something, a body fragment, away from its original context. Condensating means putting two different things together to make a new thing. So think of it as hybrid, almost, like a hybrid situation. So that's when you get part plant, part human face. And the fetish, he keeps fetishing the eyeball. He keeps fetishizing vision. And this is not outward vision. This is not mimetic vision. This is the visionary. And it's kind of the vision you get through dreams. All right, let's pick up from there. Two more. The eye, like a strong balloon, moves toward infinity, and the dream is consummated in death. This is the idea that vision takes you places where your feet will never go. Vision is transcendent. Now, when we get to complete abstraction with Kandinsky, we see how they are interested in an art that transcends the world of facts, the world of things. So this idea of a metaphysical, going beyond the physical, transcendent art, which a true kind of inner vision, vision from the reverse side of the eye, where that can take you. This is something that it's kind of a direct pathway, again, to abstraction, to pushing away from what the outer eye sees in a mimetic, imitative way. And then the dream is consummated in death. I think this one tells you it's pretty murky. And it uses the word dream, and it uses the word death, even though you don't have to memorize any titles. I wanted you to have those words floating in front of you, because remember we talked about Redon as a group of D words, dream, a descent, like a descent. Every night you take a journey that's a descent into the unconscious, into dreamland. So dreams, descent, death, and desire. We talked about Orpheus, who went into Hades to get his love back, and he made that descent. And he did it all out of his desire for his love, but then he lost her. And he ended up dismembered. So there's your last D word, dismemberment. And that's like body parts. There's a real interesting way you can talk about Redon in terms of a mind-body split, and how his vision takes you sort of beyond the body. All right. We then looked at some of his color work. He studied with a lithographer after Jerome, the important artist of the Academy, he said had tortured him. That teacher tortured me. So then he works with this lithographer. But at a certain point, he switches to colors. Now, his dates are more like in the 1880s. So certainly if you put the 1880s, that's correct. Anything that's in color by Redon is a late work. It's a later work, because he doesn't turn to color until he's worked just black and white and shades of grays for decades. I'm not going to make you memorize any specific date, and I'm going to say 1890s is okay for all of Redon. He is mature by that point, and I kind of want you to think of him as being part of this turn of the century transitional moment, when symbolism is very much asking big questions because life is changing so fast. All right, this one is Roger and Angelica. You should know that this is the Redon. And that is the Ang from the Academy. But I wanted you to see how the Academy was still doing mythological pictures, or how they advocated that you do them. And in this one, the subject matter is becoming almost irrelevant, or just a pretext for really telling the story through the vague shapes and forms of color, how it's moving very abstractly to a kind of poetic realm. And if this is nature, nature is the color of jewels. It's a jewel case. So he's really starting to liberate himself from any need to mirror nature. And he's allowing then color and form and shape to start to evoke these things itself in different kinds of ways. Now, I want to say a little difference between expressionism and symbolism, because they seem close in a lot of ways. They've all seen pictures from the reverse side of the eye, right? But expressionism to me seems so much from the inside out, almost aggressively sharpening, right? So it seems kind of very aggressively, almost exhibitionally, in an exhibitionist way, getting it out from within to the surface. Symbolism seems to me to be more like, come through the little dream door, come into my dreams. Symbolism seems to me to, if I were to take those two movements and turn them into colors, expressionism would be red, bringing it from inside out in your face. And symbolism would be forever blue. Like, oh, I never can quite get the answer or get to it. You see, I see symbolism as being more introverted into the psyche. So I'm just telling you how I've wrapped my mind around it. I'm not saying that's, you have to think about it, but I'm giving you the way I kind of start to try and get a feel for this work and feel for that mindset. They are close in some ways, but it seems one has had more of a break where they're going to push it back out, and the other one is still talking maybe a lot in poetic metaphors that move you more and more into it. All right. And finally, these two pictures show us that for both of them, whether there's someone who kind of brings the scream out at you, or the other one who seems to take it within, they are pictures beyond where words fail, where there's no words to explain it. One is scream, but we could read that scream as a silent scream too, but a very loud, silent scream, you know what I mean? Ripping through, like a hole ripping through nature. A hole ripping through everything you can talk is the way the world works. And this one is being kind of a retreat inward. All right, so that's a picture by Redon when his wife almost died. But what we get, and by the way, the title is Silence. So whether it's a scream or silence, it still seems to me to be about the moment when words fail, and about having to create an art from the reverse side of the